Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Doing another update here on AMC. If you guys are tracking the Ethereum Classic correlation here, then you are fully aware that Ethereum Classic is definitely having a rally. It's up 13% right now, currently, and I figured I'd go over the correlation here because I think it's important since we are coming up to a very important date, and that's earnings, guys. We have earnings here very soon in the next 2 weeks. Now, the purpose of this video is going to be really to cover the correlation between the two, what we know so far and what we can expect moving forward. Because if this next run up that we have on Ethereum turns into a major push where we start to see 20%, 30%, that's going to be an indicator here that we're going to get this the same effect here on AMC, because we've seen it happen before. Again, that's not saying that because one thing happens, the other has to happen, but there is definitely a correlation here between all of these, right? So here you can see we do have the bars pattern of Ethereum Classic right up here, the blue section or the green section here, green bars pattern, and it's all lined up, okay, according to the layout here. And you can see that all these runs, there is a gap between Ethereum Classic and then AMC running after. What I've gathered so far is this right here. You can see it on the video's thumbnail. It's very important. It is the tracking and separation dates. Okay, date. So if we are tracking currently, the projection here is that we would be tracking around 9 days behind Ethereum Classic. The reason for this is because there's been a correlation here with how these have been tracking ever since the crypto market started being shorted along with the market back here in November, which we know is relevant because this is where the entire market basically started tracking identical. And here we were tracking about 1-2 days behind. Starts at 0. Remember, this thing is stretching as time passes by. All right. I guess before I get really into it, if you are not familiar with the crypto correlation here, Ethereum Classic and AMC, go watch the Crypto Runs AMC Follows video. I posted this way before, a long time ago back here when we had the March run up, and it talks about the correlation. It goes way back in time here to go over that. So I'm not going to get too much into that because, again, I just want to make this video specifically for the current tracking and correlation. Again, that video is going to cover everything. And I believe there's one more that I posted recently right back here. It's called, that one should be also called Ethereum Classic Correlation. That one's going to be a little bit newer and does also cover the way they tracked against one another. But basically, just to kind of go over what this means is that, well, both of these cycles before the major run-up in January, we're tracking about 20 days behind. So Ethereum Classic went first. AMC followed about 24 days behind. Then it started to get, it started to narrow down. The days started to narrow down. So we went from 24 to 16 to 8, and then all the way back down to 0, right? So as the cycles here got very close to each other, this is kind of how I describe it. I'm already going over this, right? Here we got Ethereum. Here we got AMC. We'll make AMC red, right? So, again, as they're tracking against each other, the time narrows down until the cycles clash against one another, and then they start separating again. Basically, what's going on is, all right, we're gonna do this, man. We're gonna do this. All right, we're gonna talk about it. So, here is that curve I'm talking about. I'm not gonna pull up Ethereum Classic's chart. I'm just going to talk about these two real quick so you guys can see a little bit of what I mean by this. I'm over here. I said I wasn't going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about it now. So Ethereum, we're going to do Ethereum way back up here. It's a good way to talk about it. We got Ethereum Classic right up here. All right, green, bright green, and then we have AMC down here. This is just one way I look at how cycles trade against each other. And basically what's going on here is as these two are, well, they start off trading against each other, but way back here, there was a point in time where they were also tracking very similar, and that was a COVID correction. All right, so coming back to this, when they both started to run back up, we started to see that separation take place. So here it was about 20 days. I'm going to say an average of 20 days behind, 20, 24. Then it started to get, narrowed down to 16, back to 8. And it came all the way back down to 0, and this is where they started tracking extremely close to each other. But then, as this curve line here starts to trade away, okay, and now it's tracking outward here. So just like cycles work, guys, planet cycles, right? When you're circling the sun, you do come back, and you eventually, all planets will meet down in the middle, right? And that's where you get this solar effect in the solar system, right? All line up together, and basically you get this solar eclipse. I'm pretty sure you get once all planets line up together. Okay, so very similar setup here, except we're doing this with stocks. All right, the stocks, we know that there's cycles that happen here, and that they're very relevant here. We've been tracking Ethereum Classic AMC correlation here for a little while now, and it's been playing out. It's been playing out pretty accurately here. So if we take this theory here, which we're just going to call it a theory, even though there's just so much evidence that things are playing out the way they are, right? We can see here the separation is taking place. Start out 0, right? Gets closer and closer. We got 1-2 days tracking right around this range, and then we get to 3 days, then we get to 6 days, and now it seems like we might head towards that 9 to 12 range. Now this would only apply to the current setup, okay, if we do have a major rally here on Ethereum Classic, and we are up right now. Let's see. Okay, it's a 5-minute chart. You can see all this volume coming in. We are up about 13% for the day right now in Ethereum Classic, and continuation above the 20% range. And I would see this acting as a point of interest. A lot of volume coming in, and that will likely affect AMC here. Now, the important thing to note here is that this lands on earnings. Okay, this T+9 here, from the date that we're starting to see this increase here on Ethereum Classic, if things play out the same way as they have before, we start to see that run take place. This would be about 9 days apart, and you can see this on the fractal that I just took back down here. Okay, so this is the fractal I'm using. And you can see from the low levels here, it's actually pretty accurate. This that you're looking at right here is this right here. So you guys know where I'm pulling it from the chart. It's right here. All right. So I'm just stretching this out. This is Ethereum Classics chart. So you can see here, it's calling for sideways pressure. That volatility zone we just talked about earlier on the video is right here. I mean, you can see it as it comes down, it comes back up. There is some volume right there on the short term, right? This would be a different volatility zone going here towards the red portion of the cycle, which we have found some there as well. So again, this is just based on the current correlation. It does indicate that if things do continue to track and we start to see more volume, so I want to see more volume. This can't just pump and then dump back down, because if it does that, and that it completely invalidates what would be this bigger point of interest here on Ethereum. So we definitely want to see more upside here, and that might be an indication that AMC might start running here again. So that being said, keep on updating this this little chart here every single day. Now that we have it and we know what is happening here, we can definitely start tracking it to validate some of these shorter term runs that we're expecting here on AMC. But if you haven't watched the video I just posted, it was a live stream, longer video, go watch that as well, because it talks about the macro setup that I'm considering here. It's a scenario I'm considering based on the points of interest of AMC. And I do talk about shorter term runs that we have here on AMC with this inverse cycle that we just played out. So there's still some volatility zones that we should expect here in the short term, this being one basically on earnings, dude. It's like a day before or after. Now, I'm going to talk about one more thing because I think this is pretty important here, but this also goes, the entire cycle here goes with the previous run that we had here. So earnings on charts, we got November 2nd, all right, of 2020. A week after this, we had AMC run 100%. Okay, in between, so we had earnings. We did go up on earnings. From the bottom, I believe this was like a 130% run. It was a nice run. This right here would be a really good indication that we will play out the same thing, because if we actually take this fractal and we compare it to where we're currently at, we have a very similar setup as well. I was talking about this specific setup here with the Discord earlier, and I came to this conclusion. I brought up the same pattern. It's right there. We were messing around with different variations of this pattern, and they all line up pretty nicely for a shorter term point of interest here in the cycle, right? So it's just a point of interest, guys. Again, not really calculating levels here of where AMC would go next, because points of interest, they just indicate volatility in the market, and they're not trying to predict any specific levels here to track. Now, I will say that Ethereum Classic has been good at predicting the price levels for AMC, and that's one of the things we tracked way back here in March on this run up. We did go up the same way as Ethereum Classic. All right, so it is relevant to track the percentages because they do track extremely similar, not only pattern wise, guys, and on these these dates that we're tracking here, but also percentage wise they do. So yeah, man, that's it for this video. This is going to make it very straightforward. Again, if you don't know how the correlation works, go watch that video. Ethereum Classic, crypto runs, AMC follows. It's a very relevant video. And then also, man, if you guys do want to check out other stuff, other cool stuff that I do have, right down below, click on all those links. If you want to join the Discord, all that good stuff. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow on stream. Let's rally with the family, man. This is looking real good. Alrighty, bye-bye, guys.